Did you answer on the question, the poll on Spotify, the one that I put about Pizza Rat? No?
Wait, the one about rats?
Yeah, you didn't. Is this your answer? I polled without looking it up. Have you heard of Pizza Rat?
Oh yeah, that was me. I did answer. Yeah, that was definitely me. Was only one person?
Yeah. Welcome to Scary Mystery Surprise,
where we talk about scary things that surprised us around the internet.
I'm Edwin.
I'm Michelle. Energy up. Energy up. Wow. Okay, so obviously this is a history lesson today.
All right.
But we don't go in the time machine. This is we're not going in the time machine. I'm just talking because we don't. Well, actually, yeah, we can go in the time machine. Let's go back to. We're going to go back to 1997.
Oh, just there?
Here we go. Okay, we're in 1997. In a world where history's hidden mysteries are brought to light. The camera pans down through a dimly lit, cobweb-covered basement. Archaeologists carefully unearth skeletal remains. A groundbreaking discovery in London. Quick shots of headlines and images of Benjamin Franklin. Beneath the very foundations of America's founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin. Cut to a professor examining old documents and maps. Professor: the secrets of the past have a way of resurfacing.
Oh God, I know where the story's going.
A series of dramatic shots showing ancient documents and maps and cryptic symbols. As the mystery deepens. Cut to an investigator walking through dimly lit corridors. Investigator: this is no ordinary basement. There's something more sinister at play. I'm not quite sure why my investigator's that today. They probably should have been English, but that's what I'm going with.
I can see the whole thing right now.
Reenactments of historical events. Step into the unknown. Close-up of a diary with a hidden compartment. The truth. The diaries. This is the diary's voice. How do I? What should the diary sound like? The truth must be. No, that's the investigator. It's just a simple line. The truth must remain buried. That's the diary's voice. Fast-paced shots of investigators piecing together the puzzle, which I kind of imagine is just a jigsaw puzzle, but that it didn't specify. From the shadows of the past, a chilling revelation emerges. The camera reveals a hidden chamber with a cryptic, eerie atmosphere. Investigator: Benjamin Franklin's legacy is not what we thought. Quick shots of suspenseful chase scenes. This summer, prepare to unearth the unimaginable. Unearth secrets. Benjamin Franklin's basement. What lies beneath will change history forever.
Was he a killer?
Well, that's what we'll find out. November 1997, when the skeletal remains of at least 28 bodies were unearthed in the basement of an elegant townhouse. Police feared it was the work of a serial killer. But when research indicated that the bones were actually dated to the mid-1700s, the implication became more dramatic. 36 Craven Street was the former residence of Benjamin Franklin. So, was Benjamin Franklin a serial killer?
I mean, he looks like a serial killer, so...
He does look like a serial killer. I mean, like, he really does.
Have you seen his face on that?
Yeah, on the $100 bill,
like,
yes, I have.
I'm hiding something.
For those who don't know, Benjamin Franklin was a real Renaissance man. He is a founding father, obviously, for American history. He's the only person to have signed the Declaration of Independence in 1776, the Treaty of Alliance with France in 1778, the Treaty of Paris in 1783, and the U.S. Constitution in 1787. So he is like an OG founding father. He was a prolific writer. He wrote and publisher. He ran a printing press. He wrote this thing called Poor Richard's Almanac, which is famous, I think, still.
Yep, it is.
He was an inventor. Among many of his creations were the lightning rod, the Franklin stove, bifocal glasses, and the flexible urinary catheter, which... go figure that one. I don't know. He never patented any of his inventions. He was like there, to serve others, which was very, nice. He also invented the pro and con list.
Really?
Yeah, for the decision-making technique. Isn't
That's
that
cool.
weird?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he was the first postmaster general, and he was the first diplomat to France.
Okay.
So this guy's done.
Did he really?
He's done a lot. I mean, he makes everybody look lazy.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, and he's on the $100 bill. So can we add serial killer to this list? But also, I want to, before we put him too high on a pedestal, he did own at least 7 enslaved people in his lifetime. He posted paid ads for sale for enslaved people, and he posted slaves for sale, and he posted advertisements for the capture of runaways, and he had people's sales at his store that he owned. He later, however, became an outspoken critic of slavery, so he did change his tune, but he refused to debate it publicly in 1787 at the Constitutional Convention because George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and James Madison all owned a ton of enslaved people.
So he was a coward.
Yeah, so no rocking the boat, so everyone would sign the Constitution.
I see.
Yeah.
Smart.
Well, it's smart, but, just remember that people are complex. I mean, especially people who get exalted as heroes. You always gotta be aware.
Yep.
But why the fuck were there so many dead bodies in a house that he lived in?
I thought this was a full-on, we're just going to cancel him right now.
I mean, it could be canceled. The police were called when they found these bodies in 97. And this is a quote. I would say in my 30 years oh, that's Australian. What?
An Australian was interviewed.
How did I get I always have such a word, such trouble getting to Australian, and it just came out naturally just then.
Ooh, you're channeling.
Guess I'm channeling Steve Irwin. I would say in my 30 years, it's still Australian. That's crazy.
Just go with it. Just go with it.
I would say in my 30 years in the police service, what? This is the best accent I've ever done in Australian. This is the first private address I have been where there have been bones found actually concealed on the property, says retired Inspector Jim O'Connell. I guess I could have gone Irish with that. Of the Metropolitan Police Service, New Scotland Yard. I thought, I need to get some experts in here. Why is he Australian? I can't control it. We called the local coroner, to come give us some assistance. An investigation by Dr. Paul Knappman, retired coroner of the city of Westminster, revealed that the bones were more than a century old, but a precise date of the bones was needed to pinpoint when they were stashed. But tests concluded by Simon Hilson at the University College of London, a specialist in biology and history of human remains, uncovered findings that proved pivotal in dating the bones to the mid-17th. Fucking Robert. Surprisingly, the time when Franklin did occupy Craven Street. And Franklin did have ties to the occult. So, like, he was a big fan of secret societies. He was the Freemason Grand Master of Philadelphia. He was, like, in the Freemasons for, like, 60 years. He lived to be 83. So he was a Freemason for 60 years. So, you know, all those weird secrets and magic. He was also known to occasionally attend the Hellfires Club. You know, that group in England. Zach Bagans actually went and investigated some of these random, the Hellfire Club, they used to do their things here. Like, he'll go to a haunted location and he'll be like, the Hellfire Club was here. But he wasn't an official member. He just went to some of the gatherings. And the Hellfire Club, while it sounds ominous, it sounds like it was more meant to shock people in the outside world. The supposed president of the club was the devil, although the members themselves did not apparently worship demons or the devil, but they called themselves devils. So, yeah, I don't know.
So what did they do? What did they do?
Like, did pranks, and they did weird, like, they were like pranks, debauchery, you know, like sex, drugs, and rock and roll, I think, is what generally was going on, whatever that version is in the 1700s. And yes, they might have been doing some sort of magic, but it sounds like that might have gotten exaggerated. It doesn't sound like that was their main thing.
Cool. It sounds like a I don't know, like these creepy people that were.
I mean, it's a great name. I mean, it was started by aristocrats, 4 other weird little aristocrats. They also let women in, which is kind of cool.
Cool. To their little club.
Into their weird little club, yeah. But other than that, all the records were destroyed, so no one knows who an official member was back in the 1700s. But they've guessed that Franklin went to these meetings because of letters. So, like, that's another tie to the occult, you know? Like, whatever was going on at the Hellfires Club, you know, he was a Freemason, whatever. But anyway, back to this pit that that we're at in 1997. You know, ancient times in 1997. We're standing around this hole that they've dug, and 1,200 pieces of bone were found in a 1 meter deep, 1 meter wide pit. 6 of which determined to be bodies of children.
No way.
And there were marks embedded in the bone indicating the arms and legs had been amputated and holes had been drilled in the skulls.
What?
Yeah.
Tortured? Like tortured?
It's pretty weird. I mean, that's like pretty weird. So like, this is pretty shady and sinister, right? Like, and he wouldn't be the first monster to hide behind accomplishments.
Dang, big words right now. That's fighting words. We're going after him.
I know, but I mean, that was pretty gruesome. But Ben Franklin, a serial killer, right? So researchers are like, well, let's figure something else out.
Let's cover this up, or what?
Like what else? We got to figure this out. While it's still pretty shady, it's probable that this was not a mass murder, but likely an anatomy school run by a named William Hewson, a friend and young protege of Ben Franklin's. According to the article by The Guardian in 2003, while the simple explanation of anatomy practices sounds much better than murder, it was still highly frowned upon. During Franklin's time, anatomy lessons were considered dark and ethically ambiguous business. Anatomy was frowned on by social standards at the time, making it illegal to come by a steady supply of human bodies for research for doctors to learn. So, in order to get bodies, they had to go grave robbing.
Oh, no.
When they dug... Whether they dug them up themselves or paid professionals, known as resurrection men, at the time, to do the digging for them, we do not know. The bodies could have been smuggled from their resting place in a graveyard or brought from the gallows. You know, we don't know what was going on with that. Once he finished with the bodies, Houston would have buried the remains in the basement to avoid the risk of getting caught while trying to properly dispose of them. If caught, he would have been prosecuted for dissection and grave robbing.
Wow. And I'm pretty sure he had connections that would get the stuff.
You'd think. If you can get a resurrectionist to deliver a body,
Right.
why can't you get someone to take a body out? You know what I mean? I don't know. We can easily assume that Ben Franklin was aware of these illegal studies that were going on in his house. But no, he probably wasn't a serial killer. But always remember, people are complex, especially people who get exalted as heroes.
Jeez. What is that saying? Like, we all have our, so there's the skeleton in the closet, or like we all have people have secrets, basically.
Yeah,
like,
it's like,
this guy literally had skeletons in the basement.
Yeah, he literally had skeletons in the basement. I have a lot of skeletons in my basement. But I just murder them.
But it's for here, okay, this is my conflict right here. I think anatomy is very important.
Oh, 100%.
Like, and at the time you're trying to learn stuff, like you really want to. So in exchange for knowledge, you trade, you commit crimes, and they're not like you're killing people. It's
famous resurrection men who are notorious were Burke and Hare, who actually murdered people to give to the doctors. So that was like, that's why it was frowned upon. That's why it became illegal, is because of that.
I really thought he was going to be a serial killer.
I mean, he could have added serial killer on there. I only like briefly touched on him to give now,
aren't they supposed to be really smart?
Yeah, he's like a genius.
So serial killers are very smart sometimes.
Sometimes. Some serial killers are. I wouldn't say they're... And I think sometimes they're just really smart in their killing part and not like in their life, you know?
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh.
But
anyway.
He's not a serial killer, folks. Sorry to fake you guys out.
I fell for it.
Well, we are used to, our folk heroes becoming monsters, so.
And that's the surprise.
That's the surprise, everybody. Be careful who you worship. That's all I gotta say. And it'll still be timely. Whenever you listen to this episode, I'm sure some sort of scandal will have just happened, and it'll always be timely. This is an evergreen show, so. I don't know who it'll be tomorrow. I don't know. Just be careful.
I did my fourth grade report, like the end of the year report on Benjamin Franklin. And I remember thinking of all the stuff he did, the inventions, the letters he wrote, how he changed like the whole international thing. But serial killer, no.
I mean, the bodies in the basement are weird.
Never really liked them though. Like, I just felt like, I don't know. He sounded like a cool guy, but
he's a vegetarian.
That's why. Just kidding. He's still, you just reminded me like what he looks like. He's just like this important dude who looks like he's hiding something in that picture in the $100 bill.
Yeah, but they all look like that.
Ugh.
But anyway, what are we going to talk about next week, Edwin?
I don't know. I think it'll be a surprise. Woo!